Oh,
Welcome back to another Tips for Mortgage video series. My name is Mike Parkinson, out in beautiful British Columbia. I'm with Dominion Lending Centers and joined by my cousin Jaden Bax in Alberta, Crossfield, Alberta, with Avenue Financial. Morning, Jaden. How are you?
love and life, buddy. How you doing this week?
Pretty good, pretty good. Heading to Whistler later today, so pretty excited to go away for a few days. So it's going to be nice.
Yeah,
Uh,
nice bonding time with your boy. Hey,
exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. There's these pesky interest rates, what's happened with the economy. A few changes. We're starting to see some things definitely slow down in the economy worldwide. Supply chains things have slowed drastically there. China slowed drastically. The U.S. starting to starting to see some things come down. There's still lots of cracks in the system, lots of lags that we keep talking about. How long have we been talking about these lags for now? For about 15 months or
yeah. Seems
12,
like
15 months?
just about when they first did the rate hike in April of 2022. Then we start. Yeah, well, you're not going to feel this for the next 12 to 18 months, right?
Yeah, and like honestly, I gotta say, I'm just surprised that the rates have gone up this much. If you had asked me a year ago, I'd have said there's no way. It's been painful for a lot of people. It's painful for people in the variable, obviously. It's painful for people renewing. Uh, right now, there's nowhere to hide. Doesn't matter what you go into, your rate's not going to be great. Definitely compared to what you had. People are coming from 2 to 3% or whatever, and now they're getting into the high fives, into the sixes, right? So it's a real challenge for people. Are you seeing a lot of that these days?
Absolutely. And one of the things that I'll say about that is that those kind of switch transfer renewal rules are very much broken, right? Because
Yeah,
basically, when you go to market now, if you're locked in with whatever, let's say I have a client right now that is with one of the big five, so they're locked in with that, and that bank has given them an offer. So they come back to me, and I go to market for them. But this particular unit, it's a condo that they've converted to a rental. It used to be an owner occupied, and now they have their house. And so to qualify for their house, it was the husband and wife, and
yeah,
then now the husband was the only one in the condo. He can't qualify to go anywhere else because of the way that they do. You still have to do whatever your rate is plus 2% to
right.
move it over, but his original lender can just sign him up like that, right? And so it's taking a lot of that competitiveness out of the market as well. And
Yeah,
one of the things that those lenders are very good at is realizing that probably these clients are stuck. And so, really, for some of them, the only way we can maybe help you in that situation, rather than taking you to market and finding you the best rate, is just saying like, listen, this is the best rate on the market. Go back to your lender and say you're being offered this by whatever lender, and potentially they'll match that rate for you. But really, there's nothing to be done in moving them right now. Hey, Mike, it's become a lot more difficult over the
no.
last 6, 8, 12 months here.
Well, when you got to qualify at what you're kind of in the 8% range now that you're
Yeah,
qualifying, it really makes, especially with the size of the mortgages today.
yeah,
If mortgages were only like 200 to 300,000, that's a lot different, right? But when you're looking at five, six, 700,000, that makes a big difference, to qualify. And you're exactly right. Even first time buyers making a really good income can't even get into the house, into their first house, right? So
yeah.
it's been real challenging. But enough about that. Let's talk about where we think rates are heading, what we think's happened with inflation. Definitely, inflation's coming down. But you made a really good point earlier that we could see it could look like it's going to be a little stickier for the next month or two. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, well, it comes down to base effects, right? And so basically, when we're looking at inflation, we're looking at from August 2023 to August 2022. One of the big reasons that things came down so huge in July of 2023 was gas was so expensive. I don't know if anybody remembers, but gas, you guys are suffering in BC, but even out here in Alberta, I think we were looking at like a buck 86, a buck 88 a liter back in July of 2022. And so even though gas is still ridiculous, we're at about a buck 44, and in July we were closer to about a buck 40, buck 35. even though that's still like an absurd amount of money to be paying for a liter of gas. It was significantly lower. And so just that base effect of having that incredibly high gas in July of 2022 had an impact. These next 3 months, we're not seeing that as much. We're not having those kind of huge price increases in some of the sectors that are important for inflation. So what we might see is that we drop down to 2.8%. We're back in that window of that 1 to 3% that the Bank of Canada wants to be in, even though 2% is the holy grail. We might see that things pop back up over 3% again over the next couple of months here. Does that mean that all of a sudden inflation is going back up and we're heading back towards that 8.1 and we're on that runaway train and need to tighten down again to stop it? No, absolutely not. It's just kind of a base effect thing. If you look at the data from the months after that, we're well on track to be in within our inflation targets. But because of that, we don't know what the Bank of Canada is going to do. I think we both personally feel that they're done. The rate hikes can't keep going, and they've probably pushed it further than they should. And these cracks that you talk about are going to turn into kind of chasms, like wide chasms. But I didn't think they were going to raise the last time, the last two times they raised either, right? So,
Oh,
um,
yeah, and coming back to the legs again, the legs could take 15 to 18 to 2 years, right? So
yeah,
especially with manipulation and what's happening with the governments and stuff, and there's still money printing behind the scenes. They don't talk about it, but it's still happening. There's a lot of money sloshing around in the system still.
yeah,
But as we get further along, I firmly believe that I think that inflation is going to be coming down later through this year and into next year. So I'm still sticking with my guns that I see lower rates next year.
yeah.
Definitely. We just don't know when and how soon. And I don't think they'll raise rates again, but they could in September if the numbers come out here, in the next month or so that they're just not pleased with, then they'll go another quarter. But I think they know what's coming. I think they know that they're pushing things into a recession. People talking about a soft landing, and I can't see that. Definitely can't see that.
No, and especially in Canada, right? So, I think the U.S. is fooling itself if it thinks it's going to have a soft landing as
Right.
well. But they have a far more diversified economy, right? And
Right.
so, an economy like ours, yeah, the chances of a soft landing happening, in my opinion, are very, very low. We're and one of the reasons, and we've talked about this before, one of the reasons they raise rates so dramatically is that they know that they're going to have to lower rates dramatically, right?
Yeah.
Once you hit a recession, generally speaking, you just hammer down. And so you think things went up quickly in the last year. Likely, we're going to see a similar kind of thing on the downturn, right? So, what does that mean for you as a person that renewing their mortgage right now, or potentially buying a home, things like that? What I'm seeing, a lot of clients are making the decision to go with an adjustable mortgage, knowing that they have the opportunity to lock into a fixed rate mortgage another time, right? So right now on the adjustable 5-year adjustable, you're looking at about 6.3%. That's giving up about a percentage point on what the best 5-year fixed rate is, but you're not locked into that rate for the next 5 years. That's the big thing with that, right? And then if you're looking at those shorter terms, which we really like on the fixed side, those 1 and 2 year fixed are kind of in that best I'm seeing is kind of between 604 on the 2 year to about 654 on the 1 year. So right in the wheelhouse of that variable as well, right? And so as we've been saying week to week all the time, the important thing is knowing what your risk profile is and putting a plan in place, right? So that's where we're never going to tell you what to do, but we're happy to have these discussions in a more in-depth way about what it looks like for your personal situation, how it changes your monthly payments, all those kinds of things.
Yeah, like we're here to help guys, and honestly, just call us if you want a second opinion anytime. I'm in BC, Jay's in Alberta, and just remember that they are going to try to keep these rates as high as they can for as long as they can, because that's all they got is to decrease rates when things start really slowing down, and that's going to happen. We just again can't time it. I think it's going to happen in the next 6 to 12 months, but let's have a conversation. We're here to help you guys, and we will be back next week. We hope everybody's doing well. Take care, Jay.
Yeah, yeah, you too, buddy. Have a good time in Whistler.
Yeah, thanks.